All right, Scott, you ready?
Sure, all set.
All right. I will call a meeting to order at 6, and at this point, you'll go to public comment. If there's anyone in the room who has any public comment, this is the time to make it. Yes, why don't you come up to the table and introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Al Senecal. I'm with Allenbrook Development. I'm not really a great public speaker, so I'm a little nervous right now. I put together a letter, and I'll leave you copies of it, but I wanted to take maybe 3 to 5 minutes to read it so that you could get it from my perspective, maybe.
Sure.
All set there? Okay. And this is just a letter to try to explain to you folks that I really do want to work with the town on this form-based code stuff. And I know I've submitted a few letters and I've been to a lot of the meetings and I'm pretty involved in it, but anyway, make a long story short, I'll read it. Dear Select Board members, I would like to figure out a way to donate some land to the town of Williston for a park. Unfortunately, no one is really listening to me. Instead, the town of Williston is creating maps that take land from me. I want to work together with the town, and I do want the town to dedicate to me what land I own and what land I no longer own. I don't know if I read that right, but anyway, I'll let you read this letter afterwards. I think the town is more likely to achieve its own objectives more quickly and more economically by working with me, rather than spending its time passing more and more restrictions on land in the town of Williston. As you might have guessed, I am frustrated with the form-based code review process. I have a long record of working with towns to achieve a mutual agreeable outcome. Over the past several decades, I have routinely worked with a number of municipalities in a positive and collaborative approach to development planning. My goal is to always find a mutual beneficial result for both parties. Unfortunately, I have not seen much collaboration in the form-based code review, and many legitimate questions and concerns from me and others have simply been ignored or cast aside in what feels like a rushed effort to adopt the latest planning fashion trend. While the town has listened to developers, it has not actually changed anything with how it is approaching the form-based code. Instead, it is simply adopting and recommending of its paid consultant without change. To be clear, I am not opposed to either the form-based code or donating land to the municipality for a park as part of a development plan. In fact, in my collaborative work with the town of Essex at Saxon Hill Industrial Park, I worked closely with the town on a development plan that ultimately involved the donation of over 230 acres of land with connecting trails, easements for a town park. The process involved a number of meetings to discuss and negotiate the future development layout of our property in a good faith manner that was beneficial for both the owner and the town. I take pride in my ability to work collaboratively with the municipalities and my recent work with leaders in Essex speaks not only the respectful and professional way that we worked through the issues, but also to the goodwill and continued success of both parties following that negotiation. For it is the goodwill created by collaboration that fuels future success. But genuine collaboration seems to be missing from the form-based code review process. At no time has anyone from the town even reached out to me to say they would like to take 16 acres of my land and use it for a park. Whether I was willing to site that park in the prime upland portion of my property, or whether there were any mutual benefit development goals that could be included in that conversation. That would have been the Vermont way to have gone about this. Instead, I first learned of a park seeing it labeled on a draft official map. After digging further, I also found it identified as one of the handful of unique natural communities in the town of the official map, allegedly due to preserve the bur oak, a common form of oak, which is of the least concern for conservation value. And there's a website I put on here as well that you guys can look up and see. Bur oaks are the highest populated oak trees in the country. It is deeply troubling to me that the town would first use a completely made-up natural community designed to disparage my property, and then designate 16 acres of the area as a future town park, for these are not rare trees, and this is not a natural area. It is a prime developable upland area that the town thinks would be a nice park, a place for a park. And I kind of agree, it is a nice place for a park. But anyway, I had obvious questions about this process, including whether the town can actually do this. I asked my lawyers, and it seems pretty clear to me that this conduct is a governmental property taking or the imposition of an unconstitutional condition on the zoning process. And yes, we could file a lawsuit and have a court determine the legal claims, but that is not how I do business, nor how I want to do business. Rather, my preference is to work with the town and to come up with a win-win solution. There are many good concepts in the form-based code. However, there are a number of problems that need to be closer looked. For example, allowing development on only one side of a street is a waste of both natural and economic resources. Imposing design standards that cause the road to cost far more than a typical town road will drive up the cost of housing even further than it does now, and most assuredly will put affordable housing out of reach. Designing a road layout with input from the Public Works and the Fire Department is simply, without the Fire Department or Public Works, is irresponsible. It makes no sense to codify an entire road layout only to find out afterwards that there are inadequacies for fire trucks, movements, emergency service accesses, snow plowing, turning movements, snow storage, stormwater, utilities, and so on. As I mentioned before, it took me nearly 10 years to complete the development plan and layout of the Cottonwood property. A process involved countless hours of review with architects, engineers, town planning staff, development review board, and state agencies, including Act 250. Cottonwood is a tiny fraction of the area covered by the form-based code. It is simply naive to think that you would be able to properly plan and lay out a design that large in an area in a short time that form-based has been considered. So my request is, please slow down, do it right, collaborate in good faith with property owners, include input from the Public Works, the Fire Department, and consider practical economic and environmental implications of the code. I am hopeful that a more thorough vetting of the form-based code will create an archivable vision, an achievable vision we can all be proud of for years to come. And thank you for your time, for letting me read it.
If you leave copies for us, that would be very helpful.
Yes, I'll leave you these copies, for sure.
We're going to be starting our deliberations on this on the 23rd of the month, so.
Right, I knew there was a short meeting tonight, there was only a few things on the agenda, I didn't want to tie you up all night, but I'll take one copy.
Good, thank you. Good, thanks.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
I'll scan one for you.
There's 3 copies there to sign. So moving on then to the special town meeting warning and ballot form. Eric, just to give us a brief overview of what we're doing tonight on this, and we've discussed this at length in other meetings.
Yep. Per the board's consensus at its last meeting on July 19th, I've included for consideration a special town meeting draft warning with the article that would be placed on the ballot to enter into a communications union district to improve broadband access in the community. This special town meeting would occur on this election day, Tuesday, November the 8th. Would be the lone article to be included on this general election ballot from the town. In addition, a public information hearing is included on the warning, and I've tentatively scheduled that for part of the regular select board meeting on November the 1st, a week prior, as part of the agenda. As a reminder, the ballot, general election, not general electric, ballot will be mailed by the Secretary of State's office to all non-challenged registered voters in the state. At the board's last meeting, it approved including local articles on that per the request of the Secretary of State's office. This ballot form language was reviewed by the town attorney, Bob Fletcher. That's included for your consideration this evening. Currently, my understanding is the towns and cities, including South Burlington, Essex, Shelburne, and Jericho, will be asking voters the same question for entering into the CUD. And the city of Essex Junction is going to be considering this next week as well. So I think it's about 5 or half dozen or so communities considering this. The working group that I'm a part of, facilitated by the CCRPC, is going to continue to meet and will really pivot its focus now to communications and outreach to voters on this question, as early voting will begin, I believe, in late September or so, 45 days prior to the general election. So before the board this evening to consider adopting the warning, and if so, I would pass this on to the town clerk to then transmit to get on the general election ballot prior to the August 9th.
Any questions for Eric on where we're at tonight? If not, then there's a motion suggested.
I'll move to adopt the official warning for the public information hearing and special town meeting vote by Australian ballot to be held on November 1 and November 8, 2022.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion on the motion?
Well, it's odd to hear you say City of Essex Junction.
Yeah,
Getting just
jarring, isn't it?
That's
The
what July 1st.
skyscrapers and, no, but the article seems pretty simple, pretty straightforward.
Yeah, the town attorney, in his review, said the really substantial compliance with the general form of the law. It's really intent of the voters that's significant in the question, and we feel we've crafted the question with that in mind.
Okay.
If there's no further discussion, then all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're moving on to the appointment of the Cemetary Commissioner. Eric, just give us a brief update on this.
Yep, and I'll circulate the warning.
Eric, before you start, I just want to, could be a potential conflict of interest. I don't feel so, but I do some cornerstone work for the commission from time to time, and I can recluse myself if that's going to be a problem with the board.
So these are on private lots that have already been purchased,
Correct.
and the digging of the grave is done through the direction of the funeral homes, but your only thing you do is replace the cornerstones on.
Correct.
I don't see a problem with that.
I'm good.
Okay, thanks.
So,
Yeah, kind of brief item for the board to consider. E. Harvey stepped down from the Cemetery Commission after many years of service this past June. We've advertised to try to find a new commissioner for over 2 months, and unfortunately haven't had an applicant yet. As you know, the summertime is particularly busy for the Cemetery Commission, and B has been helping out a bit and is willing to continue to help out for another couple months. On hearing that, I thanked her and also said, well, she'll probably be appointed to the Cemetery Commission if you're functioning in that role. So this is for the board to consider this evening. The motion is to appoint B for the unexpired term through 2027. It would not, she would not serve for that full term. The understanding would be we'd still have it advertised and hopefully have an applicant in the next couple of months to be considered. And I anticipate B is fine with this. I ran it by her and anticipate she would either way need to wind down by later this summer, but she wants to see the work through as they need a helping hand right now.
good. Any questions for Eric regarding this?
Nope.
Then there is a motion suggested also.
I'll move to appoint B. Harvey to the Cemetery Commission to an unexpired term through June 30th, 2027.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Any opposed? Moving on, manager's report.
Just
Just a couple quick items I'll touch on for my written report. As a reminder, as the chair mentioned, the August 23rd agenda item will have a deliberation on the form-based code on it, following up on previous discussions. If any member of the board would be interested in any meetings with the planning, the staff before that, please let me know and we can set up a meeting. I know, Jeff, you indicated you might be interested. So,
Yeah.
just let me know. We can get something on the calendar with Matt here shortly.
And if others are interested, I'd prefer to do it together, you know.
We would just need to avoid a quorum of the board being
Avoid that,
present,
yes.
so it could be,
Two of you are interested, no way, but if one of you are interested, we can do it.
yeah, happy to facilitate that. 'Cause Matt was asking to help
Great,
plan
thank you.
ahead, so that's coming up. And then I've included with your packet an opportunity the League of Cities and Towns just put out at the end of last week. They're launching a new initiative in partnership with Abundant Sun. It's a Vermont Cultural Transformation Consultancy. It's going to offer municipal leaders an opportunity to participate in their Ethical Performance Improvement Campaign, or EPIC is the acronym. I've included more information with the agenda to think about. It looks like a really good designed series to be looking at diversity, equity, inclusion from policymaking and administration. They're going to have a cohort of up to 15 communities that can participate in this. There's an application process. It would involve a number of, at least a half dozen meetings over the course of 6 to 8 months. The town would need to have 2 people participate and commit to be part of that as part of the application. I'd certainly be willing to be one of those from the town should the board like to apply. The other person could be a member of the select board and also a board member is not able to, or there's not capacity from the board. Aaron Dickinson in the manager's office has also expressed potential interest. Looking for the board's consensus this evening if you'd like me to prepare an application for you to consider at your next meeting. It includes a letter of support from the select board to authorize, and should there be a member of the select board who'd like to be part of that application, we have to indicate that the 2 folks from the community who would be involved. So if you'd like me to continue with that, I can prep the materials for your next meeting.
So our object tonight is to see whether or not a majority of the board wishes to go ahead and at least apply for the welcoming and emerging communities cohort. Any questions?
No questions, 100% support the concept. We did something similar with the division I work with at DEC, and it just isn't. What surprised me is what I learned that I had no idea I didn't know. You know, and about me myself, you know, some of my whatevers, unintended but certainly there, prejudices, and so this is highly supportive. I don't know if it's aimed at staff versus elected officials.
Well, there would be an opportunity for a member of the select board to be part of that as one of the 2. So between now and the next select board meeting, we would need to know if there is interest on the select board's part.
I'm interested. I don't know if I can commit at this moment. Again, and I would say to anyone, you know, these. I was just surprised at how beneficial it was when I went into it thinking, how beneficial is this going to be? You know, and it was very beneficial. So I'm interested in taking another opportunity to learn more.
Good.
I just don't know if I can commit yet.
Sure. Well, that's the big thing is the time.
Yeah.
So, sure. Any other comments? Looks like we have consensus to go forward, at least for the application. So we'll look forward to that on at our next meeting.
Prepare that.
Anything else, Eric, on your report?
Nope, that's all I have this evening.
Then other business, we do have a liquor license application. And Eric, if you'd like to introduce the folks that are here, and we'll consider the application.
Yep, this is a change in ownership, and it's Roselle and Barbara. Barbara, nice to meet you. They're here. They're going to be the new ownership group for the Vermont Tap House and Tap Corners. They are, I believe, looking to take over the ownership by the middle of the month here, and so procedurally the board would need to approve a liquor license. They would retain the current license held for a first, third, and outdoor consumption permits for the facility. I checked with staff, and staff has no objections to their requests. So they're here to answer any additional questions the board has and to address them.
Thank you. For our viewing public, if you'd introduce yourselves to us and then give us a brief description of what currently transpires at the facility and what your plans are to go forward.
My name's Barbara Cody. I currently own the Shelburne Tap House. Go ahead.
And my name is Roselle Tenna, and I'm applying to own the Vermont Tap House.
So we're not going to change anything at the Tap House. We just intend to take it over, have a smooth transition for employees, the community, and, the current owner is really anxious to move on in his other endeavors, and so it's just a really great match for us and great, we're super excited to go into the old Ponderosa building and
Fix it
be a
up.
part of the Williston community.
Yeah, make it look nice and really give it some love and care, and just we're very interested in keeping all the people that are currently working there.
Yeah.
Currently, it's for on-premises service only, I presume, not takeout for alcohol consumption.
Yeah, there's, they have a bar, 35 taps. We would just keep what they currently are doing and offering.
And there'll be outside consumption.
Yes,
And that
there's-
currently exists.
Yes.
And so we're always concerned about how you regulate that as far as service outside and kids perhaps being able to be there as well.
Well, all the servers have to be DLC certified. They all have to take a class. I believe there are security cameras. If not, we'll make sure that they're there. So, if you're inside the restaurant and you're a manager or we're there, we can, watch what's going on outside. But all staff will be trained. The areas have to be enclosed. So there's signage, no alcohol beyond this point. All those preventative measures are things that, if they aren't already there, we'll make sure that they are there.
Good, thank you. Other questions?
I guess one question is, you said employees, it sounds like you're hoping to retain all the current employees as you take it over.
100%.
Okay. Okay, I'm just trying to think back to, I don't remember Vermont Tap House ever being before us for having a violation. You don't have to answer that because you probably didn't think of that, which is just a sign about your employees likely doing a good job. And so it adds some confidence that they're the same ones who will be maybe going through the training again. I don't know if that's required, but
Yeah.
doing what needs to be done in terms of underage or inebriation.
Correct.
And if there are no more questions, then I'd be looking for a motion to approve the license.
If I may suggest one for the board, as I
Yeah.
have in the manager's report, motion could read, move to approve a first and third class liquor license and outdoor consumption permit for Ricky Rose LLC, doing business as Vermont Tap House through April 30th, 2023.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Well said.
So we have a motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Good luck.
Thank you very much.
So that concludes our business tonight, and we are adjourned. Thank you all.